This is broccoli. I know you don't like it, but you're going to love it once I show you how to make it. Every side dish has a technique. For green vegetables like this, what you're going to have to do is cook it in a way that doesn't get overcooked, but at the same time isn't raw. So there's a gray area where the vegetable is not yet fully cooked. It's crunchy, delicious, but it doesn't have that raw flavor. And the way you accomplish this is in a saute pan with a small amount of water. So let me tell you what you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need broccoli. I'll show you how to cut it up into chunk sized pieces. You're going to need one piece of garlic. Just one is enough. That's all you need. You don't want it full of garlic. Nobody wants to eat that much garlic. You're going to need olive oil. Very important, salt. That's what makes it taste good. And if you happen to have it, some red pepper flakes. What equipment do you need? You're going to need a knife, not a butter knife, a real knife for the kitchen. You're going to need something to use to wash your broccoli. Vegetables are not clean. You have to wash them. And then you're going to need a pan. This pan has to have a lid. You can't do this technique without a lid. This pan happens to have a lid. I'll show you how it works. Here's what you're going to do. We're going to cut these pieces into what we call florets, individual pieces of broccoli. Rinse it. Leave it in the colander or something to keep it as dry as you can without completely dry, because the water that's still stuck to the broccoli is what's going to cook it. What we do is we cut up the garlic into small slices, fry it for about a minute until it just slightly changes color. That flavors the olive oil. Add salt, add a few pepper flakes, and then add the broccoli in. That moment when you add wet broccoli to a hot pan with oil in it is going to cause splatter. Remember that. If you don't have a lid on top of it, that splattered oil is going to fly into your face and eyes and burn you. So, what you do is you gently dump the washed wet broccoli into the pan and immediately put the lid on top. Once you do that, you move the pan around a little bit so that all of it gets nice and sauteed. And after a few minutes, you'll have delicious broccoli. Let's see how we do this. Okay, so step number one, let's peel this garlic piece. What we want is slices of garlic. So just slice these without cutting your fingers into small, thin slices. Okay, we're going to fry these in oil, and just as they're changing color, add salt, pepper, and then dump the cut up washed broccoli into it. So I'm going to show you how to cut up the broccoli. The broccoli comes with a stem. Cut off the stem, okay? And each one of these are called florets. So there's one floret, another floret, another floret, and so on, okay? You want them to be bite-sized. Don't make them too small. When they're too small, they overcook. And when they're too big, they undercook. So you kind of want to have a balance of about this size. Okay, that's as far as the prep is concerned. Now we're going to wash these and then start sauteing them. How do you wash them? Get a colander or something that you can rinse the broccoli into. Okay, wash these and then I'll show you what to do. Okay, I have the flame on medium. I have my pan and I have a lid. See, this lid fits perfectly on top of the pan. You'll have to have a pan that has a lid. This is not going to work, and you're going to hurt yourself if you don't put a lid on top of the sizzling food immediately after you put it on. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to put some oil into the pan, about a teaspoon. See, you just basically want enough. You're not deep frying it. You just put enough in there to coat the bottom of the pan. Then you're going to put the garlic in. These are going to start to sizzle. You see this? They're going to start to sizzle. At this point, I put salt in here. Salt to taste. Don't make it too salty. You can always add salt. But this step helps draw out some of the moisture in the garlic. You notice it's sizzling? I can also tell you, you will smell the sizzling garlic. Now, when you go to put the red pepper flakes in, you have to remember they burn real fast and they turn bitter. Herbs and things that are this small burn very quickly and turn your food into disgusting bitter flavors. So wait for the garlic to be ready before you put the pepper flakes in. The garlic will be ready when it's turned color. Right now, it's still the same color as it was before, but it's beginning to change, okay? You can also use the smell of the garlic to tell what's going to happen. Again, I want to emphasize this burning oil, this hot oil, when it touches water, sizzles. What that means is that the water that you have in the oil causes the oil to fly up into your face. You have to be very careful. I see the color of the garlic has changed. It has flavored the oil properly. I'm going to add 2 shakes of red pepper flakes in there. With one hand, I have the pan's lid in my hand, and with the other hand, I have the broccoli. When you're ready, hold the pan in a way that guards your face before you put wet broccoli into the pan. You ready? It's going to start sizzling and make a lot of noise, but that's what we want. This goes in. You hear that? Now I'll put the lid on. Now, what's going to happen is that water that's in there is steaming all the broccoli inside of the pan. You see that? It's not enough water for it to cause the kind of steam that we want. So we're going to add a little more water to this and keep the lid on it. So what we're doing is we're sauteing at the same time we're steaming this. It's very similar to when you go to a Chinese restaurant and they're sauteing the vegetables. The vegetables aren't being boiled, but they are being steamed because they're wet and they are cooking in a very hot oil. Okay? Now, once this turns Kelly green, as soon as it doesn't look raw, stop cooking it. Okay, I would say these are almost done. If I turn the fire off and leave the broccoli in the pan, the heat that's already built in will cook the rest of the time. In fact, I like it crunchy, so I'm not going to leave it in the pan too long. Remember, if you forget this in the pan, it'll keep cooking even if the fire is out. Do you understand what I'm saying? The heat in here is still cooking the broccoli. So the ideal thing to do is once you know it's ready for you at the temperature that you want it to be, at the cookness that you want it to be, take it out of the pan, put it in a plate. And here's the final product. Notice the color. The color is the indicator that the broccoli is cooked at the level that you want it to be. I can put my fork in it, but it doesn't feel mushy. It still has some crunch in it. When you're eating it, it'll be very nice and crunchy. Now, what are you going to do with this? Every meal that you're going to make is going to need some kind of a green side dish. It could be asparagus, it could be broccoli, it could be any vegetable that you can think of. Don't serve a meal without a green side dish. It's essential for you to serve something that is complementary to the meal that you're going to make. So you can eat this warm, or once it cools off, leave it in the fridge. Whatever is left over, it can go very well on top of a salad. Okay? Eat your vegetables, it's good for you.